how to navigate between activities. Since we lost 5 minutes, I will start right away. Like you already know, the Android, I hope you already opened the Android Studio, so I will just start right away. So what I would like to do is to create an activity. So this is the first time we are doing it here, but from new, we select activity and we select empty activity, okay? We can name it as anything. So main activity 2 is okay. You can see the layout file and yeah, that's it, pretty much an empty screen. So when I press fresh, it's, as you can see, it's syncing the project, which means, so what happened? We have the main activity 2 here, as you can see. We have activity main 2 XML that's already created for us, and we have this in Android manifest, which is the file that once you create a project, our activities, services, and everything are getting registered here. So you will, the Android file system will know what will be the launcher of the activity, for example, which files can be shared, etc. So we have this empty main activity 2, as you can see here, and we have this main activity. I would like to actually open the second activity from our main activity. So for this, I will just delete this code and I will call start activity. So start activity in this needs some parameters. So because they don't, we don't know which activity it needs to open. Okay, that's one thing. So for this, we are using intents. Actually, intent has more usages as well, which we will talk about it later. So for example, you can share images, you can with the application, or you can open gallery, Android gallery, or you can open camera. So anything with third party or inside your application supposed to use intents for this. So it is actually containing an action and a data in order to these things. So I'm pressing importing intent here. With, in order to start the second activity, I need to call intent with these parameters. One of them is this, meaning from it starts from this context, from this activity, and the other one would be the name of the second activity, like this. So we can just directly call it like this, or we can actually add some data, which is, for example, we are calling put extra. That our data could be anything, but it needs to have a key and the value. In here, we use the primitive data, which is string. So we could have defined it somewhere else in the as a global variable or anything like this, but this is just sample. So this will basically we can delete this part because we are not using. This will basically open the second activity, which we created in the beginning of the project. And as you can see, second activity is empty. Let's do something here. So I'm going to the layout, opening the view. So it has a constraint layout, which let's make it even easier. So I will just replace this with linear layout. And I would like to put a button, for example, a text view and I edit text, like think about a password page, for example. So let's make it. This edit text is, we didn't maybe mention, is the place where a user can enter their data or whatever they would like to enter. So this is, we need to set an orientation for the linear layout, as you might remember. And for edit text, the basic thing is the setting the ID. I'm setting an ID. The name is going to be edit text. What else we can do? We can set a layout margin so it will not be full screen. Okay. I use 20 dp. It's a random number, so we don't need to care really. edit text are having something else, which is hint, which means that gives a hint to user which data they can enter. So I'm writing enter text, okay. And behind this, I want to have a button. Again, it will have match parent, so its width is going to match the parent, and it will have the same margin. I'm closing the brackets, and I have a button too. So of course I need to have a name for this button. I said OK button. Okay. So you can also see it in the layout inspector, as we already showed before, how it's gonna look like. So I'm not gonna run it for now. Okay. So what we did is I'm calling this activity, so it will start, but we can actually do even better. So in order to go fast, I will directly show you. I can start activity for result. This is another thing. Okay, this asks for additional parameters. Just a minute. For results, yes. So one of them is intent. The other is a variable that we will set, because this is it needs to be a unique identifier, meaning you can start another activity. You can start second activity as we defined here, main activity 2. You can start main activity 3 or MTQ1. So we need to give it a separate identifier so that we will have we will know from which activity we are returning back. So I'm defining something here, and upon everything, I will define a constant variable, request code for main for second activity. It doesn't really matter as long as it will be a unique identifier. So I set it 999 because why not, and put it here. Okay, so this will basically start our main activity, and for result means here that it will expect a result from main activity. In order to get the result we want, we also need to define a method which is already inside this app, defined on this app compat activity from Android file system. We are just gonna overwrite this. So I'm typing on activity result. Okay, this is when the main activity 2 will finish, we will read our answers in this method. So there are two conditions for that. One of them is result code, that the activity is supposed to be finished successfully. It should be result OK. So if we successfully get something, we also need to check if request code is also equals to the request code we defined here. So we will know that we got a result, and the result we got is going to be the result that we were expecting from the specific class that we wanted. So let's make it, whenever we will get a result from this place, we will write a message success. And we need to set a duration, length long, and show. Okay. What else? Yeah, here we have data. For example, when we are retrieving a result from these classes, we can also define a data. But let's go to the second activity before we will end time. So in order to finish this, I need to have this edit text and button. So now text, I will say find view by ID, and this will be edit text. Here I will write the identifier. So we have the edit text. I will also define the button here. OK button. Yeah. I will import this. Alt enter for me. And what I want to do is to, when we will press this button, I will finish this activity. Okay, so for this, we are using click listener, okay? And when this button will be clicked, what we will do is we will read the text that is written in the edit text that user can enter. So edit text, get text, and we need to also call to string. So we will have the user input, which is the text, and we will set result, which was supposed to be activity result. Okay, but we need to somehow send this text. So we will have the second usage of the intents. Let's do it. I will call it result intent, and I will set, let's import this, of course. I will set the result intent by put extra. I need a key and the result, so it will be, I will set it as data, and the result will be text, okay? And here I need to put the result intent. So we set with the intent, we will send this data that will be in the edit text. We will set the result. The one last thing we need to do is to call finish. So once the user will click on this, so what is happening here? The user has a button. Once the user clicks on this, we will get call the second activity. And in second activity, we are having a button and edit text. When the button is clicked, we read the result in the edit text and we set the data. Here in the intent, we set result, it finishes. And this, in the first activity, this method will be called when the result is okay. And when this result is for the specific one we defined, we will press success to the screen. Let's do something more. Actually, we can also read the data from this intent. So let's say result data get string. Yes. And the name was data, I guess. Let me check. Yes. Sorry. Needs to be like this. This could be null because you can see the question mark here. So I'm setting it like this. And I am gonna press this to the screen. Okay, so we are done here. Just to show you what it would look like. So I'm gonna press this button. It will open the second screen. As you can see, I will press right here anything I want, anything. Okay, I'm pressing OK and success anything. As you can see, the message here. So that was it. I know that I was quite fast, but yeah, we started a bit late. Sorry for that again. I hope everything was understandable. Just ask me any question you have, please. Do you have any questions, or do you want me to tell you anything that was not very like there could be things that you might not understand? You can play again with this. The layout could be different. The buttons that you are using or the interaction could be different. But the main purpose of this class was to tell you about the intents, which you saw two usages here. One of them is to start the second activity. The other was to read the result, which you can see here. Again, I set a data and I finished the screen. Whenever you will create an activity, you will automatically have these layouts already which you can play with. In the Android manifest file, you will also have your first activity is defined here, the second is here. These are automatic, so I didn't even code them. So that was it for today.
Because I have a question.
Yeah.
This intent is a method that you call like a second activity. Is that when you use this intent?
Intent, yeah, intent is a class that is defined by Android. Once
the class, example, okay.
Yeah, you can just click on this, for example, and get inside the code. Okay, so it has a lot of usages. It actually has documentation here, tells how to use it. You don't need to read them, obviously, but it is for if you are very curious. As I told you, there are other usages too. But here our usage was to call the second activity. Here we are calling this intent from this context, meaning from this class main activity. So that's why I wrote it here, this, because it could be something else too. And here I am setting the target, which is main activity class here, main activity 2. Dot class Java. We are writing the name of this, so the syntax could be a bit confusing maybe, but yeah, this is the way to write it. If you want to send the data, you are setting an in intent. You are setting a put extra and setting a data here. It needs to have a key like this, a name and a value. So it could be a put extra. This doesn't need to be a string. For example, you can also set, I don't know, a number, for example, or you can also have a dynamic value. I don't know. It could be something else too.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So our time is up. Again, thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We will be helping you. I can also share this code that I wrote, or I can share you some additional reading documents that you might find it nice to read. So have a nice day. Bye bye, guys.